Hello, welcome to Podcast vs. Play, episode 232. I am one of your hosts, Carl, and as always, I'm joined by a man who saw that due to the very cold weather conditions, all Liverpool schools are asking mothers to wear 2 pairs of pyjamas when collecting their kids for the rest of February. It's only bloody Dan.
Hello.
He's bloody there. I don't know what's going on with my pointing lately, because I'm doing that, but I always do that straight away. It's weird.
Like I'm behind you?
Yeah, it's just going to pop up.
Like a Babadook.
Like the old Punisher video we did. How the diddly devil are you?
I'm not bad. I've had a busy old week, mate. It's been a brutal one. But Monday, the coming Monday, is my day off from work. Not that I only get one day off a month. I mean, a day I specifically book off once a month to... I did it last month, and I'm absolutely loving the fact that I did. And it gives me a reason to use 12 days of holidays a year, because I'm shit at taking holidays. So I take a day off, and during that day, so I'm going to the driving range. I'm going to the golf driving range. I've just bought some gloves, Callum, that are going to turn up tomorrow, so I don't tear holes in my hands like I did last time. I was going to go for a soak in a flotation tank for an hour after I'd done there, and then go for a massage afterwards. I way underestimated how popular these tanks were. So when I was looking about 2 days ago to book it for Monday, the next available slot was in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I've got to book super far in advance to get that. So that was going to be like an hour of it's a sensory deprivation tank. So you just float in, absolute silence, pure pitch black, and you just sort of fade away in there for a bit.
Like a back
Then go
tank.
for an aromatherapy. Yeah, exactly, yeah. But without any healing properties. Probably it's like psychological healing, so it's like
mental health
a
stuff.
psycho-bacter tank. Something like that, maybe. And then going for an aromatherapy massage afterwards. So it's just the driving range and the massage on Monday. But I'm going bouldering on Sunday, Callum.
Pray tell.
A friend of mine was just like, do you want to go to this place in Stockport, which is a town near-ish where I live? There's like a big old rock climbing centre there. I've got a bouldering lesson. If you want to do that, we could do that once a month. So I was like, sure.
Yeah, I can see you climbing up them
Sure.
walls. I imagine you could
if
reach
anything,
the top
mate,
from the floor.
Well, because it said it was bouldering, so it's like small walls, and I was just like, I don't think if it's a small wall, it's going to be much of a challenge. I could just step over, I'll be all right. But I'm hoping that what it'll do is it'll point out my severe lack of upper body strength and power in my legs anymore, and it will force me to go back to the gym. That's what I'm hoping.
It's quite difficult. It's quite difficult.
Well, I don't know, mate. I can't say I've ever done it.
I've done it
certainly not in the last
twice.
20 years.
I've done it twice. Both times. I mean, I'm not. I mean, the strongest person in the world, but I've got reasonable upper body strength. I can lift myself, but because you've got dick all to grip, you've got the tiniest fucking. What's it? But yeah, it's good fun. Like I did enjoy it, and if we had one, the one I went to was in Stoke, which is another place no one will ever know where it is. But I think that's the closest one I've got. There might be one in Telford now, but I went with friend of the show, Christopher. It was a good time had by all, except the people who was behind me and couldn't get past.
Well, I am quite looking forward to it, because anything to do a new activity I'm always up for. But I was quite gutted about the sensory deprivation, the psychobacter tank being taken out of the equation. So I was like, I'll book it for next month, like super in advance. That's fine. And I was just like, well, what can I do? What else can I do that's not just like more sort of like beauty spa treatments or whatever? Because it's just sort of like they really ramp up the price, those, where it's just sort of like sit you in a steam room and put hot stones on you for a bit. The massage is going to be fine. Yeah. I needed something to take the aggression out before I did the massage. So I was looking at like gun ranges in the area, and there's like archery ranges, and I was like, do I get one of those destruction rooms? But it's like 55 quid, and you've usually got to go with people. So even if I could get to say,
just go to
let me in on my own, I'll still... But that, I even suggested, I'll go to the bottle bank and just be like, don't put those in, mate. Let me just throw them in as hard as I can, get some aggression out. But I'll tell you what, mate, when you're sort of like looking for things to do, like I googled it, and after the first result I was like, this is pointless. It was like 6 things to like sort of like help center yourself or calm yourself or whatever, and I was like, maybe that'll give me go to this place and do a thing or whatever. One of them was like, sit with a cat.
What?
Cool, I'll just rent a cat for the day, shall I?
I mean,
there's a cat cafe,
cat
but
cafes, isn't they?
I feel like that would stress me out when there's 50 of them.
I don't know.
And they're like shedding into my tea or whatever. I'd be like, oh, my sandwich is full of hair.
A dog be more therapeutic.
I'd get like an emotional support dog for the day, maybe.
I don't necessarily mean that. I just mean dogs are generally more affectionate when cats are bastards.
That's true. And I'd like to know of anyone in the area who I could borrow a dog for a couple of hours, maybe, to have a run around with. But no such luck, unfortunately. So if anyone's got any suggestions for something that they do that's, a bit of a couple of hour activity that sort of chills them out for a bit, I'm up for it.
We've got there's a place, we take a Logan, but adults go as well. It's called Area 51, and it's like a trampoline place.
No.
You should do that, it's excellent.
No.
Why?
I'm not going to a trampoline park in the middle of the day like an absolute pedo.
Not now, because it's half term at the moment, but next week, when it's not half term, you'll be alright.
I don't think it matters when it's half term or not, mate. The only people that are going to be there are going to be kids.
Put some shorts on and one of them helicopter hats.
Oh, yeah, make it worse.
Helicopter hat.
What, like pretending I can't come back down again?
Yeah. Well, no, I meant just so they think, he's just a large child. There's nothing devious about this.
And the beard.
Borrow Logan. Take Logan with you if you want.
I mean, I'm just trying to de-stress with the day. Bringing a child into that equation, if it's someone else's or not, it's only going to make matters worse.
It is good fun, though. Like, I genuinely love going there. It's great. That's right. I meet you back here and I just bounce away.
Well, potentially one of the things that I could have done that would have, maybe I couldn't have done on that day, but during this month period, because maybe I've mentioned this before on the podcast, I'm not sure, you certainly know, but once a month I go out and I do a certain thing with a couple of mates that at least one of us has never done before. So this month we were supposed to go to a VR warehouse.
Yeah. So
you put like a big backpack on, it's a big open space, it's like the most primitive version of a holodeck, really, which is obviously why it excites me very much. But it's a good VR setup, basically. So we were looking forward to that. And then Ant-Man came out this month. So I was like, do you guys want to see Ant-Man? Because I think we saw Doctor Strange together as well. And they were like, yeah, up for that. And what I didn't realise was, until they pointed it afterwards, is that it's one or the other. Like, we do Ant-Man or we do the VR thing. And I was like, well, I don't want to see spoilers and whatever, so we'll go and see Ant-Man. So next month is going to be the VR thing. Tell you what, Callum, it's a bad choice on my part, because I feel like I would have had more fun at the VR thing than I did Ant-Man, which I feel is also an excellent segue into what we're going to be talking about.
It's also, obviously, anyone who's watching the video will have already seen the thumbnail, but whilst Dan was busy watching Ant-Man yesterday, I thought I'm going to do the I know what the topic's going to be about before we start the podcast. So I did the thumbnail in advance. So this is a live reaction from Dan to the thumbnail because I want to see what he thinks of it.
You're going to send me?
I've literally just sent it to you. So let's have a look, see if you like it.
Well, your face is ridiculous in that, but I think mine is an absolute winner.
I mean, you can tell that where the effort went.
Yep. more so than I feel Disney might have put into this one.
It wasn't that bad. It's all right. I think it was disappointing, but it's not. I still stand by. It's better than Wakanda Forever.
Okay, so I'm not going to piss about with like a time code list or anything like that. Spoilers for Ant-Man, and this is going to be a relatively kind of newish kind of podcast after it as well, so please do skip if you don't want anything about it. I don't think it's the best Ant-Man film,
no, but
it doesn't also feel like an Ant-Man film. It feels like an Avengers team up side, like so. You know, like with the Civil War comics, there was the main Civil War run, which was like all the characters all doing all Civil War-y stuff together. But then there was side comics that were like, it was Iron Man, it was Spider-Man, it was what they were doing that kind of interconnected with that, or was beforehand or whatever. It kind of felt like that. It felt like it was a side thing, a side piece for a bigger movie that had all these kind of like crazy, you know, Prism Head Man and Blobby McGee or whatever. And I do not give a shit about any of them. So I'm just like, who are you? Like, you're just another random group of people. And it's like, yay, rebellion or whatever. I don't care. Like, I was here purely for Jonathan Majors, right?
And Paul.
I mean, yeah, but again, he's established in this now. He's fine now, but, it's mainly about his daughter, and I don't really like the daughter because she's just sort of like, I'm an activist, and I'm cool, and I'm a new Ant-Man. No, you're not. Shut up. Hope was great, but again, underused. Janet, so, Michelle Pfeiffer, I think, was really fucking good in this. As, being this sort of, weird, you've got this underground, sort of, was she a terrorist, was she not?
Yeah.
That whole kind of, subplot with Bill Murray or whatever, I thought that was quite interesting.
They wrapped that up very quickly, though, because it was, it was like, oh, what did she do? And it turned out nothing, because as soon as she found out that he was bad, she left.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Kind of, killed that part of the story quite quickly.
Yeah, and then there's buddy Michael Douglas, Hank Pym, who's
sticking his hands in
he's
things.
Just sort of along. He's just enjoying being along for the ride. He's just sort of like, I'll do some ant stuff in a bit. The only ant stuff, by the way. So there's no heisting stuff. There's no sneaking about. There's no nothing. It's just
they weren't in the
this guy is the end of the universe.
It was over ambitious, and I think that there's one thing I will say, and I will argue in defense of, it's this Gang the Conqueror, and he was taken out by ants. Not just ants; they were highly
super
advanced ants, and there was millions of them. So it wasn't like it was one ant that came and took him out.
No, yeah.
But I don't know. I very much agree that it's not really an Ant-Man film. It was an Ant-Man film as much as the first Ant-Man was a Falcon movie.
Yeah,
he's in it.
He's in it. Sure.
It's a really hard one because I do think I enjoyed it. I say when I spoke to you with no spoilers when I came back last weekend, I get like a 6.5 out of 10. It was enjoyable, but that's putting it as a film. If you compare it to a lot of the other Marvel films, the score will come down. But I enjoyed it way more than Wakanda Forever. I didn't enjoy it as much as the first Ant-Man, but I think the first Ant-Man it's a different film altogether. It's not even a superhero film. It's a heist movie. And that's not a negative, that's a good thing. I do like what they did with MODOK, I'll be honest. I think he looked ridiculous. But what else can you do?
I'll be honest, I forgot MODOK was in it. Obviously he pops up very, very briefly, split second in the trailer. But as people will probably know if they've listened to this before, I'll usually watch the first kind of real trailer for a thing. I'll be like, okay, that looks alright. That's it, I'm done. And then I'll just steer clear of everything. And I totally forgot that MODOK was in it until I saw the pink lasers, and I was like, of course, I forgot he was in it. And I think that it looks great until he opens the mask, and I was just like, oh.
But
that, it's not like it's just a silly, because it should have been far more awful and grotesque to look at. It's not just
stretched it to fit. They basically did what I did on the thumbnail.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. It looks like a Snapchat filter. I'm surprised if there's not already one on there that's just a MODOK face and it just stretches your face out like that. I do like the fact that they used Yellow Jacket. I thought that was quite good. But then that just means that anyone who just shrinks down and goes and just disappears, well, they probably just exist in a smaller version. Which makes me think that, Kang's just gone into a thing that's been exploded and then...
He's not dead.
Is he just shrinking into a...
Spoilers.
even smaller version of the quantum realm? Do you know what I mean?
Eventually. It might even give him some extra powers and stuff. I already knew that Thingy was MODOK in this. We did a podcast a good while ago and I'd said, obviously I'm not going to say who it is, blah, blah, blah. I might,
but you see
I saw his spoils, man. But I really like that. I think it's a very clever way of
I'm absolutely
making MODOK exist within the MCU. But now he doesn't exist anymore. So
get him, kill him, sure. But with his baby legs.
I don't know what else you can because I've seen a lot of people online complaining that he was used as comic relief. The fucking else are you going to do with him? Really?
Yeah, I mean, he's they made a MODOK show, which was a comedy.
Yeah.
Because again, what you're going to do, have a serious story about a giant floating head in a jar.
They tried it with the Avengers and it didn't work. The game, that is.
It's got Yeah, it's got to be funny, or it's like it's too silly to be serious. So embrace the silliness of it, and that I'm totally cool with. Like the fact that he's now a giant man that's gianter than a city giant man. Cool, get into it, love it. So there's a few things, like the daughter is sort of like, I'm not particularly interested in that. Like she's like, I've got a suit, have you? Oh, I can build a subatomic radar. Can you? Like it's just, I've just been busy. It's just such a hand wavy, like she's a genius as well, and she's built something that like no one else in the room could have built. Really? And that you didn't tell anyone, the person who's literally been living there for 30 years, you didn't even think to ask her about how it works. Nonsense.
This is another gripe though, because whilst I 100% agree about Cassie and stuff, like I don't hate her as a character, I just think it's very, like you say, it's just she can just, yep, I can do it, it's fine. But why didn't Janet ever say, especially with the events that happened, and when they are obviously doing the quantum realm stuff, why didn't she ever say, by the way, you don't want to fucking go down there because it's alright, fucking evil bastard?
I don't know, because it feels like it's, because like when Scott got stuck there and when he rescued her in Ant-Man and the Wasp, that was only like, what, a couple of years ago. But he also, I mean, I think I kind of explained this in my own brain, but he made a big deal of just sort of like, I don't know how time works down here. Like, you know, it could have been 10, 15 years that's gone past since we've been down here. Yeah, you do. Because you literally, the guy who pitched the time heist idea to the Avengers. To be like, I was down there 5 years. It's been 5 years. I was down there for 5 hours. It's been 5 years for you. But then I got thinking, well, this was further. Like, because Janet was like, oh, this is, like, when you found me, this is like a deeper level within that. So maybe, like, time's even more wibbly-wobbly where he was. Potentially. But I've got a question that I couldn't answer, and I'm hoping that you might be able to, Callum. When Janet touches the exposition machine that turns into... Also, you do Kang, right? You have him build this incredible empire that everyone's absolutely terrified of him, and then you just go... Yeah, he destroyed entire timelines. Entire universes was destroyed because of this guy, and we'll do it in a 30-second flashback of just him screaming at the camera. Absolutely not. I don't want to see wibbly-wobbly slug man get a whole shot in him with a nonsense array of fucking rebellious fighters. Show me this guy tearing timelines apart.
That's what the film should have been.
You want me to be scared of him, that he's going to be the new... Thanos is not even a blip on this guy's radar. He's that powerful. Show me it. Like, he's such a good actor, and he's so good in this, and he was
good in this as like I think this film would have been better and more well received if they'd have done so. Ant-Man Quantumania is a Kang film, and show us everything that happened and connect that to Ant-Man dipping in and out of the quantum realm that he's already done previously on his own and with the Avengers, and just have that tie into how Kang, because obviously he's going to escape because he's the big bad for the Phase, so we know he's going to get out. Not particularly necessarily this one.
Yeah, he reverse engineers their like weird time heist or whatever. He sees them zipping in and out, and he's just like, I can figure this out or whatever. But to just like, it felt like, you know, in what's the newest fucking Star Wars? Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
There's like a scene where Kylo, he's like the new emperor, whatever, and it's just like a scene of him just sort of like killing like 20 dudes in a forest, and that was supposed to be like his like Darth Vader, like over 30-40 years, like absolutely just obliterating people. It felt like that. It's just sort of like, it's like, yeah, he's just terrible and everyone knows about it, and let's move on. Like, you want me to give a shit about these guys that have been uprooted by this guy? Show me him torturing their village. Like, they even did it with Thanos, where they were just like, here's like, it's only a small part, but here's him absolutely annihilating the Asgardians. Yeah. Like, he kills fucking Heimdall, he kills Loki, blows up their ship. Then you see a flashback where he's with Gamora, and you know, you literally see him killing half the planet. And also there's been a whole bunch of other steps with people that are super terrifying bad monster people who are all shit scared of this guy. You know, there's a reason that he was an intimidating character, and it wasn't just because he looked like an intimidating guy. It was earned, that sort of fear, and I think that he was doing a really good job with so minimal interaction. Like, Like when he was sort of like interrogating them in the cages and stuff, I was like, oh, this guy looks like he's like I get why people like he's
very good scene.
Yeah, when he's just very calm, and he was just like you think I won't kill her? Like it's like it feels like he's Rick.
Yeah,
it's just like there's like a billion of you, and I've killed you every time. Like you, so he's taken out Thor. He's taken out, let's assume, your standard classic Avengers, right?
Yeah.
So your Doctor Stranges, your Iron Mans, your Captain Americas, or whatever. This guy's killed all of them, however many times across universes, right? And yet he gets punched to defeat by a single bloke. I don't get it. I just don't buy it.
Came out the cinema, and one of the things I said to Zoe, because Zoe's like, as always, like, to enjoy it. I was like, I did, but Kang's a big AAA villain.
Yeah, he's like, again, universe level ending.
He's incredibly powerful. Yeah. And whilst I'd be very annoyed if they did, I don't know, Iron Man, Quantumania, because it's the quantum realm is tied to Ant-Man. So it should be an Ant-Man film. But it shouldn't be Ant-Man taking him out. Because he can't.
It should have him having the absolute shit kicked out of him, and they just, by the skin of their teeth, managed to get out and blow up the portal or whatever, so he can't follow them through. But he can be like, Avengers, like, there was this dude, he should be able to devise a way to get back. He's got that power orb thing now. He's going to come, and he's going to be a nightmare. We need to sort of like, that could be a good prequel. Yeah. To just punch it, like, also, this guy, I'm trademarking this now, he clearly knows Kung Fu, right? Which is him just, like, Ant-Man's nothing. He's just like, and he's on the floor, he's absolutely kicked shit out of him. His arm, right? That was the highlight of the film for me. When he had to, like, rip part of his costume off, and that arm that was like this, I was just like, what an absolute waste. Like, this guy has got insanely jacked. He's in the new Creed film as well, so that's probably going to be shirtless a lot in there, but like, the costume looks great, don't get me wrong, but it's also a very fucking dark movie, so you don't really get anything from it.
I don't know about that. Like, I didn't struggle to see
maybe
anything.
Like, honestly, then it might have been our cinema, because there was like a bit when MODOK is sort of dying, and he's got that like chest panel thing that's got like his heartbeat. I could barely see it.
Oh yeah,
and I was just like, are we just in like really
going on with the screen then? Because it was a very vibrant,
I'll rewatch it on
very vibrant movie.
Well, then that has probably taken a lot of it away, because it was like a very big, dark, smoky battle in a city kind of thing. So I'll rewatch it on Disney Plus and see if it was just the cinema that we watched it in, which kind of muted everything, if that's the case. Like, right, so this is a question I've got for you. So, well, firstly, there was two things that I actually enjoyed in this film. One, Jonathan Majors' arm. His acting aside.
Was that the two?
Purely that arm.
Jonathan Majors'
No. No. But when Ant-Man is like super, super giant man, and he can't get through the shields, and then he goes to Hope, who blasts him at him, and then he goes super, super giant man, and like hits with all that force, and I was like, that's smart, I like that. And that was enough to get through. Also, kind of like, I did like when he sort of was like, right, I'm going to step in with this, and he goes out and just starts absolutely torching people, Homelander style. How was this guy not able to just stop this like that? Like, because he even says, like, you're not a threat to me. I've done this 1,000 times. Like, this isn't the first rebellion I've had to put down.
He's also, like, depowered a little bit with, like, his suit breaking down and whatnot. But
yeah, I guess.
Fundamentally, like, Ant-Man couldn't lose. Because then it's just like...
But he should have.
He should have.
Like, he should have at least...
I don't mean,
sacrificed himself.
Yeah, like, we know he's going to be... He's not written off. So we know there's going to be, not necessarily another Ant-Man film, but he's going to be part of the next films going forward. So the only way for that to happen was he won. There's no other way of doing it. But he shouldn't have.
I think it should have been like...
more if he didn't.
Yeah, like they go through the portal, he jumps in, and then he blows up the portal to stop him from getting out. And I was just like, okay, that's cool. Like, he's trapping himself there. So how's that going to work? Are they just going to is he going to lead the resistance or, and then it's just like, okay, so Hope comes back through. She saves him. And then she's like, oh, he definitely can't come out. And she blows up like the power core thing and it shuts it down. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. So it's like her mom, but instead of her being alone, they've got each other. And then, he gets sucked into the core or whatever. And then Cassie is just like, oh, just open up another one. Portal open. I was like,
I don't know how long it's been, though, because obviously that could have been years.
From the context, it was she just went and turned it back on again, and the portal just popped back open again.
I'm fairly certain they just opened it and they went in. But on the next film, they just go, no, it took us like 3 or 4 years, but we managed to get.
But she's in the same costume.
I know. So I'm just saying that it would be easy to explain it away, but it's poor writing.
Yeah. Like it should have been like a Doctor Strange Dormammu kind of thing. It's just like, I'll seal myself in with you, and we can just hack it out forever if we need to. But you're not leaving here or whatever. Maybe he turns him, and he becomes like an ally. Yeah. He controls the ants, and they rebuild the empire and whatever. That would have been a cool thing for him to come back with like all super ants, like with super ant tech. That'd be great. I've just written a better movie. God damn it! But explain this to me, right? Which is a question I had. I might have missed something, but when Janet touches the exposition machine and learns about his insane past or whatever that we'll never get to see, apparently. I'm assuming that when they do Kang Dynasty, they might look into that a bit more. I fucking hope so, anyway. But she gets the core off him, and then she hits it with like a bunch of like shrinking and growing discs. Hits it and then like slams it into the ground, and it just turns to normal or whatever. I'm pretty sure that Hank Pym created those for Scott. How the fuck did she have them in the quantum realm?
Pass. Maybe he just made more.
Because he said like, I designed the. I'm gonna have to watch it again or just skip to that scene. I'm pretty sure because he's like, you throw this one and they shrink. You throw this one, they get big.
Yeah, but
that was the whole premise, that you had like a weapon that you could use, and Hank didn't have it before.
But I don't know if it's explicitly said that I've literally just made these for you. That could be him explaining to both Scott and the viewer how they work.
Maybe, but then if that's the case, I'll give you that point. But then when they're after a gigantic missile that's going to explode America, why not shrink it down so it's this big? Yeah. And he goes...
He left him in his other Ant-Man suit.
Yeah, when you're going to save the world, definitely don't take all your gear with you.
I would assume the same reason that Janet didn't say anything in the last film about Kang being in the being down there and warning Scott that you don't want to go in there because Kang's there.
Yeah, say that constantly. Like every 20 minutes, just like, it was terrible down there. I don't want to talk about it, but definitely don't try and go back. I'll tell you that.
Just sneak it in somewhere.
And it would make sense that she's been blipped away when he comes up and goes, we'll use the quantum realm as like a time tunnel thing. Because if she was there, she'd be like, no, we'll think of another way because we definitely can't go down there because we'll potentially cause more problems.
That's why he gets stuck there, though, isn't it? Because they get blipped away and he's stuck there. So she already knows he's gone. He's gone in there, but she should have said before then, well, this is a stupid idea.
That's a good point.
That's what I mean. Like,
because if he could just track that signal or whatever, or or if he's aware that he's just come in, and then he's zipped back out again a few hours later, and then they all come in and start going around. All you got to do is just like do a thing, and you just monitor what they do, or you replicate it or whatever, and you can pop yourself back out.
That's another thing, though. Like, how do we know? How do we know for definite that the blip didn't affect the quantum realm? Because Scott just assumed it because it didn't affect him.
I don't know. I mean, they've said that it's kind of like its own universe. So if the rules of like the Infinity Stones, like because like in the TVA thing in Loki, they don't work. They're nothing.
Yeah.
So if it's the same kind of thing, it's just like it's not like a super 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 small. It's like it's like into its own pocket dimension universe thing. Again, that's an episode of Rick and Morty, I'm sure.
Most
like a microverse and a miniverse and then a teeniverse.
It's the one like he's got that generator that's got that entire universe inside it, and
it's his battery for his car. Yeah, exactly. But maybe the writers have just been watching loads of Rick and Morty because there seems to be a lot of Rick and Morty stuff that's coming through.
There's a lot of. I mean, if you go back to the many years of comics, there's a lot of stuff that I imagine Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon has stolen from Marvel and DC and whatnot. But
maybe
a lot of it's very. Even the way that it's explained, like Rick's very to the point, and even though it's all nonsense, it makes sense. And that's a similar with the exception of the over-convoluted time travel theory that they use for the Avengers, but whatever. But what I was going to say is that the reason Janet didn't say before Scott went to the quantum realm in Ant-Man and the Wasp, don't go down there because Kang's there, and the reason Janet's probably got these discs in Quantumania is because it wasn't thought ahead.
I thought you were going to say, like, oh, she used the machine ahead of time and sent her tools back to... No, it's just they didn't know.
I imagine they was just like, what's the next one going to be? Well, we've used that. We've got another blue villain we could use. Right, here you go, Kang. Yeah,
well, yeah, but he'll only be blue about 3 times during the whole movie. Though.
What I really like the fact that the visor makes the... Yeah, I think it looks really cool.
But then I thought that, like the drone things that he had, I thought they were just like robots or like extensions of himself. Or I was hoping that like they'd shoot one in the face and the mask would break and it would be him. And it would just be like, again, it's sort of Rick and Morty style, I suppose, but there's like 1,000 him that are just like this gigantic army. And it's like all of his billion alternate variants or whatever. Also, surely the TVA know about this. Why are they not getting involved?
They know because it's the quantum realm.
Well, I suppose there was a hard reset at the end of Loki there, wasn't there?
There was. Obviously, that's one of the post-credit scenes is season.
Yeah, it's like
Loki.
new Owen Wilson and
Loki.
Yeah, so like, you know, it's like, this is the guy you're terrified of, and he's like, yeah. But again, I'm not terrified of him.
I mean,
I'm terrified of him because I know what he's capable of, but not this dude, the one that's just been shrunk into a hole or whatever.
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not terrified of any. I think most of the villains are underused and whatever. But it's a different thing. I can see, just from Quantumania, why people are afraid of Kang. And when you see Loki, obviously, it's Mr. Thingy again, but the fact that he's afraid of a different version of himself and all the other versions of himself. But it just begs the question, how can you ever win? Because
I mean, you'd have to be like a paradoxical time loop thing. You'd have to like find the exact causality of Kang and wipe him out, or sort of. I don't know.
But the fact that they're properly leaning into different dimensions and everything else, which is fine as long as they can pull it off. Which, for the most part, up to now, they seem to be able to control it a bit. But if it just means, well, you know, we go to the quantum realm, Ant-Man beats him up a bit, and then that's the end of it. And they go, well, it's not though, because here's another one. Oh, now we've beat this one, but that's the end of it. But it's not though. Here's another one. So they have to, because there's not just one bad Kang. There's thousands of them. So I don't know, and I'll be honest, I don't care. It's.
Well, there's one thing that I did notice. You know, like when they're assembling the Council of Kangs or whatever, they all seem to be teleported in on a very similar teleport thing to Mr. Fantastic from Doctor Strange.
That's a good point. I didn't
like a white.
I didn't notice
square,
that.
like whoop.
Been the part of the Illuminati.
Because I saw that and I was just like, ooh.
I did notice
like
that.
that.
I didn't notice that.
It could just be that they've got that asset for teleporting someone in, and they just went, "That looks like alien tech. Why that works?"
It was originally just on a green screen, just walking in. They're like, "Nah, don't." Brian.
Well, because wasn't the Kang in Loki? Wasn't that a Richards, not Franklin Richards? It's like a descendant
of. Yeah.
So if they've got like Reed Richards tech kind of thing, maybe, or maybe his is based on that or something, or they've just reused an asset that they've got to get someone in there.
But the Kang you see at the end of Loki in the post-credits scene, I forgot his name because his name's not Kang. He's got a different
Kang the Merciful or Kang the Butcher or Kang
like,
the whatever.
Brian. It's like just a name.
No, I'm sure it's. I think it's.
But
it's not Frank. Yeah, but you're right. It is a normal name.
But he's connected to the Fantastic Four, that particular character. So that could lead into the Fantastic Four film in some fashion.
Not anymore, it's not.
Why?
He was stabbed to death.
Yeah, but we could still have a Fantastic Four film.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, there's Kang-based or whatever, or through, like, dimensional blah, 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 whatever, sure.
Also, it's a different dimension. That's not our Reed Richards.
But then that's fine. You could have just said, oh, in the quantum realm, there are these 4 heroes, like the only 4 sort of superhero meta heroes that are in, and it's one's a rock band and one's a whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, well then bring them from the quantum realm. Bang, there's your Fantastic Four. Sorted.
I mean, obviously, we're still getting a Fantastic Four film. I just don't think it's going to be the people that we want it to be.
I'm more interested on who's making it rather than who's casting it. If I'm perfectly honest, mate.
I don't think a director's been named yet, have they?
No. It's still. I think it's slated for like 20.
It's next year.
25. I think.
I'm sure it's 24. Yeah,
Oh really?
I'm
okay.
sure it is. I could be.
Well, what's
could be wrong on that.
Someone asked me this actually. I can't remember. What is the actual next phase film that's due out?
The Marvels, isn't it?
Okay, that I'm excited for. That should be good.
Because I think the next thing is a Disney Plus show that I can't remember off the top of my head. So it could be.
Oh, Secret Invasion or Armor Wars, maybe.
I don't think it's Armor Wars. I think it could potentially be Secret Invasion. You know what? Shall we just pull the thing up, Daniel?
Yeah.
Let's have a look what it is. I'm pretty sure the next film is The Marvels. I'm pretty sure it is. Obviously, first one being Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Oh, of course,
this year. The Marvels, which is also this year. Captain America: New World Order. Ant-Man, Guardians, Marvels this year. For movies, so it's Secret Invasion Season 1, Loki Season 2, Ironheart, Echo, Agatha. That's all this year. And then next year, movie-wise, we got Captain America, Thunderbolts, Blade, and Deadpool 3. With TV, just Daredevil Born Again.
Wow, that's interesting. Just the one. They got
up,
a lot of faith in that then.
Up to now, at least. Up to now.
So then that is Fantastic Four would be 25 then, I guess.
Yeah, so, most likely going to be 25.
Fair enough.
May Guardians of the Galaxy is.
That's not too far off.
Pretty close. And then July.
Nice.
The day after Logan's birthday is the Marvels.
Cool.
So, and then everything else is just like winter, summer, etc.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Looking forward to Guardians, though.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit more. It should be better than Thor, which I wasn't super.
I think this is better than Thor.
That I'd agree with. I enjoyed
Love and
it
Thunder,
more.
that is.
Yeah. I don't know. It just felt like it's just sort of like it felt like I'd started watching. It felt like I hadn't watched like most of the Phase 3, Phase 4, and then just watched Endgame, and I was just like, who is any of these people? Like, there's a big dude. That guy can fly, and that guy's got a big axe or whatever, and you don't know who any of them are. It just felt like that. It's just like, okay, well, you're leader of rebellion, but why? Who are you? I couldn't tell you a single one of their fucking names.
Yeah. Fire Lamp, the Jelly Wrangler,
the dude, the telekinetic dude from fucking Good Place.
That's where he's from. I knew I
yeah,
recognised
I was just
him.
like, oh no way! Oh, I wonder who he's going to be. Dead.
See, I didn't hate it, and I still think it's one of the better newer films. But this brings me back to something that you'd said in a text message, Dan. About if Ant-Man isn't good, this could be we've already hit the peak.
Maybe we have peaked
for the Marvels. I don't think you are right, but I am disappointed in this film, mainly just because of how much I really like the first Ant-Man. However, I really didn't like the second Ant-Man that much. Again, I didn't hate it, but I it was just like what a disappointment.
I think it was fine. I just thought it was like the first one was very singular visioned. It was just like, he steals the suit, he gets recruited, he trains up, he becomes Ant-Man, he learns how to control ants, he learns how to fly. he has to break into an Avengers thing, so there's like a cool crossover, and then he has to fight the guy with the same powers. Classic Marvel formula stuff. And then the second one is the same, but it's, now Hope's got her suit, and Ghost is like, well, it's not really a great villain, but, Bill Foster's in it, which is kind of great.
Yeah.
And then this is just like, and now there's like a multi-universal rebellion that he needs to be part of. It's like, what happened?
I think this would have been better if it was 2 films.
I think it would have been better if he was just in it and it was someone else who was like taking the lead. I just don't think that he's been slamming people around like they're nothing in this universe, and then he gets beaten hand to hand by a normal guy. Not zipping about and popping up and doing whatever. Also, his helmet breaks and he can't shrink or go large or whatever. When they're both, like him and Cassie are both big, they both pop their helmets off.
No.
So can you just take them off now? Is that a thing? I thought it was a gas you had to inhale.
It was more. I thought it was like to control you, to stop your organs from exploding all over this place.
I think it was like to control that. So no ant controlling in this, other than Hank Pym, who just fucked off for half of the film to come back with super ants.
Which I don't know why they do it. Why they go, you can fuck off, while we'll listen to you. Like, you can see what we can do.
It's like, yeah, we remember you. We were slaves to you. We literally had to do what you told us. Also, why didn't we not get to see like cool cyber ant city?
I mean, you see it
I'd
briefly.
have loved to have spent. Yeah, but it's just generic block things.
Like,
I want him to be like the Borg.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's the vibe that it was going for. That it was like they'd evolved to this point and they were doing all this, but then it was just like, hey, that's just enough.
However, we've got all this super advanced 1,000-year technology. However, we'll still listen to this dude with the 1,000-year-old hearing aids, that like ancient hearing aid, and we'll do exactly what he tells us, even though presumably these are ants that have never even heard of a human because they're so many generations down the line. But he can tell us what to do. Let's go, guys.
Well,
all of us.
I don't know, because
with that giant ant tank that's like a Power Ranger. I loved that. As soon as that came and just started shooting lasers on, I was like, show me more ant stuff. This is amazing.
But they were some of the better parts of the film, and they were few and far between. And I will defend the movie in the sense of, like I say, when people kick it up and like, well, how was he beaten by these ants? They wasn't just ants. It's more believable than Kang getting beaten by Ant-Man.
Yeah,
like,
being like completely over. Well, like I get that this is sort of like what I've done this 1,000 times. What can you possibly do now that no one's done before? Wait, 1 million giant ants? Like I haven't got a contingency for that. Like, how the fuck do I deal with this?
That's the thing.
Sure,
because that only came about because when they went in, like those ants went with them,
got pulled in with them,
and obviously that changed time and what happened with them and stuff. So. That probably has never happened to Kang before. So he wouldn't be...
And that's what I mean, like something that would throw him off his game.
Yeah.
I get that. But if he could take out Thor alone, like...
But
really?
but we also give
like,
a lot
if you
of
look
credit
at, like,
to Thor. Like,
if you look at like the Chitauri army with those like mad dog, insane, tear you apart kind of monster things, these are just general soldiers.
Yeah.
How are they a threat to any of the Avengers?
But so Iron Man also like took Thor down a peg, and then after like actually that's quite a thing. I was watching a very old Mr. Sunday Movies the other day, and they're on about Iron Man 2. And in that, when he's fighting Whiplash near the beginning, like on the racetrack, and he gets obviously the whips around him and electrocutes him and stuff. And then later on in the Avengers, one of the upgrades he's done to his suit is to harness. So if he gets electrocuted, the suit will turn the power around and power him up and stuff. And they've done that in every single film that Iron Man's been in. And something's happened to him, and then he's learnt and then rectified it in a later suit. I was like, that's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I know that's irrelevant to this film, but
Thor it shoots him with lightning, and he fucks him a little bit, but he supercharges him, and then they just turn that into, well, how about you just shoot it into my back, and I've just got insane levels of power because I'm channeling it rather than just absorbing it accidentally.
Yeah.
And yet now Ant-Man's got a nano suit, and everyone's just got I don't like the fact that you can just put it on. Like, what if you lose that? You drop it on the bus or something, and then bang, Ant-Man.
There's a lot of Poor
this is the
writing
thing.
choices.
All I did as I came out of that, I was just like, why did that happen? Why did that do? Like, even just sort of with the blinkers on, of just like, oh, that was so cool, of just like flashing and sounds and colours like a baby or whatever. Like, it's not until I sort of sit down or watch it again and go, why didn't you just do that? Or why is that a stupid thing? Like, I kind of came out of it just sort of like, I didn't enjoy that really. Like, there was, again...
spare ass.
I like that. That's quite good. But like, again, that was silly. I like that. The face is a bit stupid, but whatever. You can't have everything. Yeah, I thought that the suit, like the lasers of big buzzsaws,
look cool.
Mental. Love it. Not jetpack, just sort of hovering. Don't mind. Still like a gold maniac. Love it. Like Majors, I think he was really good. I just think that if he was just put on this pedestal as this absolutely unbelievable threat, we should have seen more of it.
Yeah.
And then just like all the sort of like, oh, family. And then like it's at Cassie's fake birthday. Just then. No friends? She ain't got any friends? Of course not. She's always getting arrested.
For being an activist.
Apparently. And a super genius as well. Fuck off.
Like I say, it wasn't... I didn't hate it. There's way worse films. And there's way worse Marvel films. But that doesn't mean that it was great. I enjoyed it. It served its purpose. I enjoyed going to the cinema. I enjoyed Derry falling asleep. But that's not indicative of the quality of the movie. That's just what she does. So,
well, luckily, we had like 8 people that were in there, and all of them shut up. So I had a tremendous time. The biggest problem was we had... The film was at 8 o'clock, and we went to get some food beforehand, and we'd ordered, and then about half an hour later, the waitress was walking past, and she's like, "Have you had your food yet?" And we were like, "No." And we're kind of running out of time a little bit because this movie's at 8. It's like past. And she's like, "Oh, well done." And she went to the kitchen. She's like, basically, they just didn't process the order, so I put it through. I've had to put it through again, and we were like, "Okay, cool. There's not much you can do about it, but sure." Then it hit like 1:45, and we were like, "All right, this is can we cancel it now?" And like she came over, and we were like, "If they haven't started yet, it's fine. We'll just cancel. We'll get some afterwards." And she was like, "I'll just spoke to the manager. I'll be with you in 4 minutes." And we were like, "Sure." At 8:04, it hit the table, and I have never eaten... Like, we were in our seats by 11 minutes past 8. Pasta. With mushrooms in it. And I hate mushrooms, but because we had so little time and I had to destroy this food. You know me, I like my food, right? And I like to enjoy my food. I don't like tanking food, because then it's what a fucking waste, right?
You don't enjoy it.
Absolutely smashed this plate down. We got to the cinema. Rob wanted to get fucking popcorn before we got in. I was like, "Are you winding me up?" Like, we literally just had to dash that meal out. I could have sat there and enjoyed it for 3 more minutes while you bought this fucking popcorn.
Why didn't you take the pasta with you?
They did bring us a box out for the garlic bread that Rick decided to order as well. Brilliant. Although we smashed through that as well. I'm not joking. In 4 minutes, all of us had finished everything and we got out the door. 8:30 is when the film started. I was fucking livid.
Boy,
I was like...
You should have worked that out by now, Dan. Whatever the time the film starts, add at least 20 minutes to it.
Yeah, which is, again, so we were in our seats by, it was just past 10 past, it was like 11, 12 minutes past or something like that. So we were like, bang, hit the last trailer maybe, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and there was another 15 minutes on top of that. I was fucking fuming. And then that popcorn, he didn't get through for about 20 minutes. Everyone else was so quiet, and I was like, if he doesn't stop, I'm going to have to kick it out of his hand. Yeah, and it's here.
I'll be honest, I think that was me, because I was really hungry when we went, and I had a big tub of popcorn. And
I don't understand why that's something they sell in cinemas. Sell sushi.
I don't like fish, so fuck off.
Just a soup or something, like with a straw that you can drink through.
That's what you'd have done.
I mean, I couldn't hear what you just did.
Oh,
so sure.
Slurping.
Oh, right. Well, no, again, with a straw, just...
Yeah, but it'd be hot, so all you lose...
Ow! I'm a tongue.
But what normally happens at the cinema is I'll eat my popcorn and I'll finish it during the trailers and stuff.
Which is absolutely fine.
And then
not got an issue with that.
I will have a like the last handful, and then a bit of the shell will get stuck at the back of my throat just as the film's starting.
So for 2 hours, like
every fucking time. Oh, not last week, but every time.
Just get some ice cream. It's cold, so you won't choke on it for a start, and it's quiet.
Remember when they used to do that in the old days, where the guy come round, like,
no, I don't mean like they come round and just be like, "Oh, ice cream, anyone?"
Yeah, that's
like,
what I mean. I missed that.
Ben and Jerry's like at the fucking kiosk.
Nah, I mean that's look at stuff. It's fine.
You get one of those like hot core ones. That's the shit.
Oh, what?
It's like ice cream, and then like they inject like hot fudge or like hot caramel or something into it. Yeah, that's real good.
I've just never heard it called that before. It makes sense because it's at the core. I've just never heard it called that.
Core drilling.
Core drilling.
Core chilling.
Core chilling. That sounds better. That sounds really a lot better.
Ben and Jerry's core chilling.
Well, I'm quite a weirdo with stuff like that because normally we normally just take stuff in Zoe's bag. Like, we'll buy a couple of bits and then take them. And then I'll just buy a coffee.
Fucking 3-piece meal.
Yeah.
It's got I've done sandwiches.
I bought a meal deal from the co-op before. Took that in with me. But like normally, like I'll just get a coffee from the Costa that's in the cinema, and I'll just have a big coffee. And that will be me just
going... Europe, but you get beer and stuff.
Yeah, but I normally go in the morning. So if I'm going to the cinema, it's like I'll either book half a day or whatever. So Logan's at school, I haven't got to get a babysitter, and we'll go at like 10 in the morning or something like that.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I'm not at that stage where I'm that much like my dad that 10 o'clock requires me to have an alcohol.
Get rid of the kid. Alcohol. Yeah.
I'm not far off, but yeah, I can wait till 11.
I think they're just a bit more like they serve like hot food and like pizzas and like. Imagine if you could go and get a pie before you go into the cinema, or a pasty or something.
Have a pucker pie while I'm at the cinema.
Yeah, I mean, or a bag of chips or something.
I'll do hot dog. Like sometimes I'll have a hot dog while I'm there.
For like £8, mate, for a bit of recycled beef.
That's the thing,
offal.
though, because like they do at the Odeon Lux. Like the reason I had a big massive fucking popcorn last when I went to see Ant-Man, but it was like I think it was like £8 for like a big drink and a big popcorn.
Criminal.
But it would if you get the two. So if there's two, you can get two. It was a little bit cheaper. So we may as well just fucking do that then. But it's like £6 normally for like a hot dog, a drink, and something. Which isn't that different than if you went to McDonald's or something like that. And I get to watch a film.
£6 at McDonald's, you're choosing wrong, mate.
I mean, I'll
tell you what, I got a McCrispy the other day. Banging.
What's a McCrispy? Is that chicken?
Yeah. It's like a new option that they've added. Presumably, it's like available in other countries or whatever. But there's like a McSpicy and a McCrispy. And it's just like if you went to KFC and got like a chicken burger, it's kind of like that. It's just like crunchy.
I'm not a big fan of chicken burgers. I'll eat it. I mean, I will eat them, but I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of McDonald's, to be honest. And it's like what I assume sleeping with the prostitutes like, where it's all right at the time. But,
and then you feel dirty and awful afterwards.
And then,
and
my wife,
because I was like one of my team members, like whenever I have a one-to-one with one of my team, I always get them lunch afterwards because at the moment they're absolutely fucking smashing it. And until the day that they disappoint me, I'm going to do one of these. I was like, whatever you want for lunch, I'm going to get you lunch because you deserve it, right? And I was hoping that would extend out. Also, there's a new Italian that's just opened at the end of the road. And I went in there and the guy was like, "Oh, you're the first customer of the day. I see you all the time walking past." I was like, "Oh, no way. Hello." I was meeting the friend there.
I don't know why.
He was on me instantly, right? I was in love with this guy by the time I left. He's like a proper Italian. Like as soon as he sat me down, he's like, "Whatever you want, come in and we sit down. Oh, you waiting for someone? Oh, the blah." And then they all start screaming at each other in Italian. I was loving it, right? And then as we're leaving, because there was no one in there, it was just us until we left, and there was like a small party that had come in. It was like they had a very soft open. And he was like, "Oh, I see you come back all the time. Whenever you're coming back, you want to pop in for a coffee. This is your new home now. You come in, you see us." And I was like, I've got a client coming in next week, which I have. I'll bring it. He's like, "Oh my god!" Like he was so overjoyed. I was just like, "I love you. I'd like any chance I get, I'm going to come back here because that's the sort of attitude that's going to get me to come back." I loved it, but like I want to experience these kind of places that like Manchester's full of them. So I was like, anything you want to order, you've got Uber Eats, we've got Deliveroo, we've got Just Eat. Anything that's pretty decent is probably on one of them. Get whatever you want. Oh, well, just Mackey's. I was like, okay, sure, you've earned it. Let's do that. So she got a McSpicy, I got a McCrispy, and she's like, oh, I don't want it as a meal or anything like that. And I know what it is. She's just sort of like, oh, I don't want you to spend anything on me. It feels weird. And I was like, well, fuck that. Like,
so you just took to
again, you've earned this. No, she's 19. That's not okay. But I was just like, oh, if I get some chicken nuggets, do you want chicken nuggets? Like, do you want to share? And she was like, yeah, we get like 6. And I was like, if I get 20 chicken nuggets, will you share them? She's like, yeah, okay. And I was like, right, fine, we'll get
3
them.
each.
Yeah, I was like, what? No point. And one of them was like that big as well. It was a fucking beast that came with it.
Why would you get chicken nuggets and a McCrispy?
Because I didn't get it as a meal. So it was just the sandwich.
Yeah, but you get like they got the thingy cheese bites and stuff for back in. I saw on the
sold out.
Ah,
I did see like because I thought, yeah, I'd never seen those before, but I thought, oh, I'll get those sold out. Fuck.
They do a Christmas one as well, by the way. And I've literally just said, I don't like McDonald's that much. I'm like, well, you want to get when you go.
You seem to know a lot about the menu.
But I go past it every day. So.
Oh, right, okay.
But
speaking of, when I was getting the taxi on the way back from the cinema yesterday, as we were walking past, like the guy, it was so good because like we were all stood outside the cinema, and I'd like sent him a message saying, "Oh, we're just out the front of the cinema," so he knew where to find us. Rob still had some of his drink left, but they decided to stay and wait for me because they were both driving back.
Yeah.
And the guy pulls up. And I was like, "Oh, you're right, mate." And he just pointed at Rob straight, and he was like, "You have to finish that before you get in." And he was like, "I'm not going in with you." And he was like, "Oh, no, fine." And then as soon as I got in, it was clear that he's probably sick of, like, this is a nice Mercedes as well that he pulled up. He's probably sick of people.
Was it?
Yeah. And clearly, like, someone spilt something in it, or he's very precious of his car or whatever. And he got in, and he was like. Clearly, he was a bit flustered, but he just sort of shouted at someone for absolutely no reason. And he's like, welcome on board, like a pilot. And I was like, you're right, mate. And then he couldn't really, like, he sort of, oh, how was the cinema? And I was like, it was all right, And he's like, it was just sort of like, oh, no, how do I fix this? And then as we just didn't say anything. And as we were sort of coming down the main road, there was this drive-in McDonald's. And he's like, oh, I was here when you when I accepted the app thing. I was just going to go and get a coffee, and I was like, I'm in no rush. If you want to get a coffee, mate, we're there. And he's like, oh no, don't worry about it. I was like, well, when we get into Manchester, there's no more drive-in McDonald's there. And he's like, it's fine. And I was like, it's literally there. You were going anyway. I'm not in a rush. Feel free. And he was like, okay, sure. Then we got in the queue and like booked it on his app, whatever. Then we like pulled round and I was just like, is this a stupid idea? Like, should I not have done this? Like, should I have just gone home instead? And then we were pulling round and we sat there for about 2 minutes before we realised that you've got to go around the next corner to get to the speaker. So there's just a car behind us just like, what are you doing? Went round and then he got his coffee. And I just sort of like took a little sneaky video of this. I was like, what am I doing? Like, how have I ended up here in the back of an Uber getting his coffee?
I did wonder why I got that video.
I did send it to you, but then I sent it to the guys as well. And then Rob just sent back a message saying like, oh, so he's allowed drinks in the car. And I was like, the night's complete now. Thanks. That's the funniest thing you've ever said.
Even better if he said, he's like, I'll just have a medium coffee, please. White, no sugar. Do you want anything?
He asked
you. Oh, really?
Yeah, no, he did actually. He's just like, oh, can I get you anything while I was here? And I was like, no, don't be daft. I'm all right. I'm like, what? Yeah, I'll have a Big Mac meal, please. Go for it, yeah.
What you should have said, you should have just said, like, you gotta make you pay for it, but like, get a drink. And then just take a sneaky video of you drinking it in the car. And send that.
I didn't even think of that. Like, he was just like, oh, do you want to drink while you're here? And I'll tell you what, you put me out a little bit. Again, I volunteered this, so I'm not annoyed. It's not like you just pulled in and said, I'll only be a sec. Like, absolutely, this is my call. It's totally fine. And then I get, yeah, sure, I'll have a Coke. And then he goes, get out. Like, finish it on the side of the road in 20 seconds, and then you can get back in. But to be fair to him, he got it, his latte or whatever, and then he poured it in like a thermos mug and then gave the cup back to the person in the window. So it was a sealed thing, so he's sticking to his own rules. I'll give him that.
Could he not have just like said to them, I've got a flask, can you just fill this up? And then it saves a cup then, doesn't it?
I don't know if you can just sort of say, here's my Tupperware, can you put my sandwich in there as well, save the box? Can you just fill this with chips for me?
Isn't it? It's a drink rather than the food.
I've got a feeling that if you went to a drive-thru and said, sorry, can you just fill this up for me? They'd go, no. Like,
save the environment.
legally, for insurance purposes or whatever, we have to supply it in our cutlery.
I mean, that's probably
what if that explodes when we bring it into the kitchen?
Suppose,
like, it's a trick cup or whatever that spreads glitter everywhere.
Just a snake. I popped to a certain place the other week, and
we're not worried about getting sued.
No,
say it. It's fine.
Asta. And I went to get I just went to get some bits and bobs, and then they've got this big new coffee machine thing, and I was like, quite fancy coffee, so I'm gonna have one. And anyway, Logan and Zoe were looking at sandwiches and stuff because we were quite hungry, and I was already annoyed because I went to buy Hogwarts, and it was cheaper at Asda, which is why I went, and it was out of stock. So anyway, getting his coffee, pressing these stupid buttons, I was like, click that. I'll have that, do that. And then Zoe's shouting stuff at me. And I'm still waiting for this coffee. She's like, how long does it take? And I forgot to get a cup and put it under the thing. So it's just gone straight there. I'm like, oh, I see what's happened.
Yeah, I did the same, like when I was at the golf range. Like you scan a barcode and then it spits out a bunch of balls at you. But I thought you had to like scan it and then like you press or did a thing. I don't know what I was expecting, but I bleeped it and they just started coming out the bottom and I hadn't put a basket in and I was just like, oh, this is so embarrassing. I managed to get a basket in before. Like it was kicking out 120. Like I had to be quick about it because people would have just been falling over like a fucking like a gumball machine that's exploded. Yeah, I would have gone all the way downstairs.
I haven't been to a driving range for years. I've played one like actual game of not like a drive range, like going around the course, and with my friend Matt, Rob, I think Andre might have been there, but it's irrelevant who was there. But Rob and Matt both, I think they still do, but they both play golf. I've never played golf other than a driving range, and I used a driver for the entire course, and I did it in fewer strokes than everyone, and then I retired undefeated.
Yep.
I've never played it since.
I've never done it. I dread to think of what would happen. It would feels like it would be like a 9. It would be longer than a shift at work would take me to get around there because I'd hit it and just go, I don't know where that went. Because my eyes aren't great anyway, so I'd just be like, it's gone. I needed an app that would track it, like an AirPod.
I'm surprised that's not a thing, you know. That like there probably is balls that exist with
this
GPS
got like a Bluetooth GPS ball. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, it makes sense that there would be. Plus, it saves you money on balls, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you're losing them all the time, then at least you can...
I mean, they're not exactly expensive, but I imagine the GPS ones that are £8 more expensive, and then you smack it straight into the fucking lake. You're like, well, I'm not getting that back.
I mean, you could still technically get it back.
Well, yeah, then you need a remote-controlled submarine that you can send in after it.
No, you get the Captain America ones. So you press a button on your phone and
it goes vroom,
and you just catch it.
Yeah, but like the contingency in it, it goes back to the T.
Yeah.
So it goes straight back 300 yards, straight back to the start, and hits Horace in the face as he's just lining up for his. Yeah. Groundsman.
Nah, it's golf's something I've never got into that I thought I would, just because I got quite a lot of friends that play golf. But then, you know, I'm the hipster of the group. So like,
you're in like sort of a villagey kind of area. You know, there's countryside and stuff.
Yeah, I need to get into
hunting. There's not much else that you've got to do really. You've got like a pub and a Chinese and a chip shop, and that's about it.
That's the thing. I've got a lot more golf courses around here than other things. Like with it, not necessarily where I live, but I've got Stafford and Staffordshire and Shropshire. I'm literally in the middle of both.
In the middle of,
and there's golf courses galore. It's just, you know, old people play golf.
Well, Callum, something that I'm sure you probably didn't want to talk about on this particular podcast, but you have been offered a new job, a very new job, for being very good at your job and then not being rewarded for it. Yes. So you decided to kick that fucking company to the curb as they so belong. And then you've been offered a much better job for much better pay and much better hours and no more shifts and bullshit, which means... but I was going to say streaming. Not our streaming.
We're not starting streaming.
But, no, we're not. But our recording is going to be... potentially, Callum's going to be a bloody lot more of it because you're going to be doing a normal 9 to 5, like a normal person for a change. But because of that, and you get like a normal shift pattern, you learn how to sleep properly like a normal human. You know, and you can have a bit more free time and probably a bit more flexibility. I could always come down and we could go and play golf for the day and be absolutely fucking terrible.
We can do a video on it.
I wouldn't recommend that. No one wants to see that. I'll tell you what, with the practice that I'm going to get, right, I'm sure I'll be able to whack it and it will go 200 yards, which is, I think my maximum at the moment is 182 or 187, right? Which isn't, I don't know if that's any good or not, because I'm not trying to hit it.
Pretty decent.
Yeah, I don't think it is. If I'm honest, I don't think it is. But it's getting it accurate, so I'm managing to hit it straight rather than just sort of like off to the left, which is where I was doing the first time. I reckon I could sort of get it about halfway, and then maybe again about another halfway. So say if it's like 450 yards, maybe in 2 I could get it down there, and then I'm fucked.
Why?
Like there's like 50 different clubs to choose from. I have no idea when to use any of them or whatever. You just be. I can't aim either, so I've got no accuracy, and I also don't know how hard to hit it to make it travel certain distances. It would be an absolute shit show.
That's what practice is for. I mean, you driver to start off with.
It's like 60 quid for a round of golf, isn't it?
I don't know. Like when I did it, I lived at home. It was a long time ago, so.
Well, I'll tell you what. What's the closest one to you? We'll do this live on air.
Yes. I don't think it's called Stafford Castle, but I think it's in the name. We actually looked at it when you were here last time.
Stafford Castle Golf Club. Probably that one. So, golf bookings is a bit of free publicity for Stafford Castle Golf Club. Visitors bookings.
This week's episode brought to you by Stafford Castle Golf Course Club. Place.
Well, if we do it on like a weekday, say, so it's probably a bit quiet, a bit cheaper maybe. We'll do an 18 holes. There's no tee times.
No tea
at
times.
8 o'clock?
I've got a tea. My tea time's 5.
Am I doing something wrong here?
I don't know.
They just closed that week for some reason.
I'll just pick a week that's not closed.
But they all seem to be. There's no.
Does it exist, Dan?
I don't know.
Are you are you on a calendar?
Maybe it's because it's too. What? 5 a.m. until 8 p.m., which is the time that's like the longest period of time. Oh, okay, so we could do the 1st of March, apparently, but then after that, it's not interested. Maybe it's just like you can't book so far in advance.
You might not be able to do it in advance.
However, it's £12.50, Callum.
That
is significantly cheaper than I thought it would be.
You can get a 7-day membership for £725.
Unless I'm playing golf 9 hours a day, 7 days a week, I ain't paying it. And even still, what was that? $12.50 tea time. That was what, 700 quid for the. I'm pretty sure if you played it twice a day, every day for a week, it still wouldn't be 700 fucking quid.
I don't know how it works.
Although you probably get like access to the club shit and stuff, don't you?
Possibly. I don't know.
Tell you what, though, mate. That's it's cheaper than going to the fucking cinema.
Yeah, but
and that's 6 hours of entertainment. As long as it's not raining. Potentially.
I don't know. I think I'd rather go to the cinema than play 6 hours of golf.
I disagree. I want to go and play 6 hours of golf and enjoy it for about 25 minutes, then get frustrated and refuse to leave until I've completed it, which is what we were there to do in the first place. So I'll be livid by the end of it, and I'll be starving, and my hands will be killing me. So I'll be in terrible mood all round. It'd be great.
Hard game to play golf. Those dads
I
are very
think so.
good golfer.
Maybe we could do like a 9-hole or something like that and just see how we go.
I think we could start with crazy golf and then work up from there.
I've done plenty of that. I know what I'm doing with that. It's absolutely fine.
But we will use the same clubs for both. But Dan, I think we'll leave it there. We'll look into some more golfing. Something we can actually do with our new frequent update schedule is maybe some more golf with your friends. It's been a while.
That's a good idea, mate.
Get into the spirit of it. Excuse me, I went to swallow something that was not in my mouth. What a weird thing to say.
That is a weird thing to say.
If you want to see some more stuff, including the aforementioned Golf With Your Friends video that we've done in the past, you can go to podcastversusplayer.com, as well as podcasts and other Let's Plays and game shows. Speaking of which, Sporkle should be up by the time this video's already gone up. We did a few Sporkle games earlier in the week. But Dan, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining. And we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one.
Bye.